All of us want could take time.
They're trying to juggle a lot of balls in the air right now, particularly with 4 victims. It's going to be a very complex crime scene. It's going to be a complex investigation.
New details are emerging in the stabbing deaths of 4 University of Idaho students. Tonight, the Latah County coroner says the 4 students were likely asleep. Some had defensive wounds, and each victim was stabbed multiple times. Authorities found no sign of sexual assault. Moscow police say at this point in the investigation, they do not believe the 2 surviving roommates or the man seen standing near a local food truck were involved in the murders. Police also addressed rumors swirling online claiming the victims were gagged and tied, saying those are not accurate, and the identity of the 911 caller has not been released. Detectives say they've received nearly 500 tips, which are being processed, investigated, and cleared. 38 people who may have information about the murders have been interviewed. The whereabouts of the killer and the knife used are still unknown. Detectives seized the contents of 3 dumpsters on King Road to look for evidence. Police have also gone to local businesses to see if anyone recently purchased a fixed-blade knife. Anyone who saw something suspicious, has video surveillance, or can provide relevant information about the murders is asked to call the Moscow Police Department.
Investigators are still trying to piece together where the 4 University of Idaho students went the night before they were found in their Moscow home, stabbed to death. Investigators are hoping the map released today will provide additional tips from the community.
The map details the night of Saturday, November 12th into the early hours of Sunday, November 13th. It highlights locations and approximate times when Kaylee Gonsalves and Madison Mogan were in downtown Moscow, while Ethan Chapin and Xana Kernodle were at the Sigma Chi house. Investigators believe Madison and Kaylee were at the Corner Club on Saturday from 8 p.m. to 1:30 a.m. Sunday. Then they were at the Grub Truck on Main Street at 1:40 a.m. 5 minutes later, the map says they returned to their home on King Road. I drove that route this afternoon, starting at 4th and Main and ending at the King Road home. With some light traffic on the road, I arrived at the house in about 3 minutes. This suggests it's reasonable to believe Madison and Kaylee traveled by car from the food truck, but that detail has not been confirmed by police. Investigators also say Ethan and Xana were at a party at Sigma Chi from 8 to 9 p.m., then returned to the home on King Road at 1:45 a.m. The fraternity is a short 3-minute walk from the house, but still, there is a 5-hour gap on their location between the party and arriving at home. Investigators hope someone might remember being at or near the locations they've identified around the same time and potentially saw something suspicious or relevant to the investigation. Police are asking those people to call the tip line or email with that information.
This is all good information, but it brings up even more questions, such as, did investigators use the students' cell phones to identify the locations and times on this map? Did Madison and Kylie walk or drive or get a ride back to the home? And did Xana and Ethan spend only 1 hour at the Sigma Chi fraternity? I have several calls into Idaho State Police and other local authorities working this investigation. I have not heard back, but we will continue to press for answers as this story develops. Reporting in Moscow, Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.
Just trying to make sure that when detectives go out and interview people, it's based on what they know, not what they've heard on the news.
The University of Idaho told students this week they could go home early for Thanksgiving break if they didn't feel safe around campus, and many already have. Jenkins says that could pose a challenge for detectives trying to interview witnesses. It was for him during the hazing death of Sam Martinez, which also occurred right before Thanksgiving break in 2019.
Most of the witnesses left town, and that's the type of investigation you need to have a one-on-one in-person interview. And so it does definitely complicate that investigation.
Jenkins says the answers all of us want could take time.
They're trying to juggle a lot of balls in the air right now, particularly with 4 victims. It's going to be a very complex crime scene. It's going to be a complex investigation.
Are emerging in the stabbing deaths of 4 University of Idaho students. Tonight, the Latah County coroner says the 4 students were likely asleep. Some had defensive wounds, and each victim was stabbed multiple times. Authorities found no sign of sexual assault. Moscow police say at this point in the investigation, they do not believe the two surviving roommates or the man seen standing near a local food truck were involved in the murders. Police also addressed rumors swirling online claiming the victims were gagged and tied, saying those are not accurate. Addressed rumors swirling online claiming the victims were gagged and tied, saying those are not accurate, and the identity of the 911 caller has not been released.
Welcome back to my Mental Health and Crime channel. My name is Huda London. This is the case of the Idaho. Today I'd like to go back to the beginning of this case. In the beginning of this case, we were told that all the 4 students were asleep when the unalivings took place. But obviously, that turned to be untrue. And we were told that the victims were not gagged, that those were just rumors and speculations from social media. I do remember there were a lot of rumors and speculations from the beginning of this case. Obviously not every rumor could be looked into. Obviously the suspects that are going to be obviously spreading wrong information and spreading rumors so that they won't be caught. So rumors were flooding in from everywhere. But I believe there was a purpose to it. I personally believe that some of the rumors were facts. Like that the students were not sleeping. I believe it was facts that the students were gagged up. Why do I believe that? Because common sense would tell us it's difficult to get 4 people together in one room or one place without the others going amok and calling 911 or running outside and getting you busted. So that doesn't make sense. I believe the victims were gagged. I believe Ethan was gagged. That's the only way you could have got to carving Ethan's legs. I believe Kaylee was unalived by more than one person. Why do I say that? Because I believe 2 weapons were used on Kaylee, on her face, her body, everywhere. I believe K-bars were used, but I don't believe it was one person who did this act. I want to know where are the other 3 victims besides Maddie is DNA. How come we don't hear anything about Zana's DNA when her fingers were severed? There is so many things that don't make sense and we're just supposed to be quiet. Now I want to ask you all another important question. Picture this, a quadruple actually took place. How could they let the students go home for Thanksgiving? Some of the students are definitely suspects themselves. That's why we always look sideways to this case. That's why this case has got so much media attention. Because people can see that you can't sense it up. It doesn't make sense. When a case like this happens, immediately the FBI is supposed to be informed, they should be involved, and they should be searching for the suspect that could be running loose in anywhere in the 52 states of USA or around the world. That is putting other innocent people in danger. 4 people were unalived and more people could have suffered the consequences. That's why I believe it wasn't Kohberger. Kohberger doesn't have any criminal record. Let's not talk about the fact that he stole his sister's device. That is siblings' issues. If you all notice, it is the college students that were running the show. You had Showalter calling the cops and saying that, here I am. I was with Kaylee and Maddie that night. Jovito himself was saying that he went around calling law enforcement, telling them that he saw Maddie and Kaylee. The way the crime scene was handled was really unprofessional. That's the reason the glove was found 2 weeks later by Chris McDonough. I personally believe they were parked at Walenter Drive. And they were doing their business through the sliding door from behind. Because obviously you can't see somebody if they're at volunteer drive. That is the reason I believe the students were gagged. Because you couldn't have got control under 4 victims. Let's not forget what the Sigma Chi said and Ryan. They said that hashtag rule number 1, take the biggest victim first. That would have been Ethan. They could have gagged him up. Guys, I forgot to say this is all my thoughts, my speculations, and my opinions. I believe they gagged up Ethan. They could have made Zana watch everything. They could have unalived Ethan. And then they dealt with Maddie, Kaylee, and Zana. DM is bad. In my opinion, it looks like the crime scene itself. It looks like there were ropes or something that was gagged up to the bed. We saw the guy at the grub truck recording Kaylee. So what was actually going on that night is my question. The neighbors heard everything that was going, but they were pretending like they heard nothing. Like this neighbor here.
Students have decided to go on Thanksgiving break early.
A lot of people left last night, and then I know we were one of the only ones who actually stayed here last night. My mom has called me every single hour for since 7 a.m. this morning. So yeah, they want me to come home if I don't feel safe.
Moscow police have not said much about what exactly happened, but they have released the names of the victims.
Don't you find it strange that the neighbors have not been given their witness statement, or the police hasn't been taken the neighbors' statement so far, unless I miss it. 2 of them were the grub truck, Dakota and his girlfriend Heidi, and I showed you this other girl talking. We saw a lot of movements going on at the neighbor's house. Then you have the fact that it was Thanksgiving coming up, so Moscow Police Department let the students go home for Thanksgiving. What kind of crime scene can be conducted when you have a suspect out on the loose who's committed 4 unalivings allegedly, but yet you let everyone leave from the crime scene and go home? I find that to be really, really concerning. What could have happened is they were so much stressed they did not have the right suspects. These people could have blamed Koberger for the touch DNA, and they just wanted to wrap the case. But I really believe these students were all gagged, unfortunately. Others, they would have fought back. At least Ethan would have fought back. Zana was trying to fight back. Unless Zana had more than 2 people set loose on her. I want to know why Emily's thighs, behind her thighs, are all bruised up. And I wonder if Maddie and Zana were having any issues at the Mad Creek. Because in the beginning, we heard that there was a lot of rugs flowing in the Mad Creek. I'm talking about serious rugs that was going from Mad Creek, basically Moscow, Idaho. I'm just telling you all what was said in the beginning. They were driving it to Montana, Nevada, California, and then to Alaska, if you'll remember. So I wonder if there's something to do with the Mad Creek. We heard in the beginning that Maddie flushed down some rugs. So could it be possible that the rugs that she flushed down belonged to the Mad Creek restaurant? Could they all have come? We saw the Mexican-looking guy at the grub truck. Did they come and tie them up, gag them up? You could hear the noise of trucks, the alarms going on and off, the key alarms. There was even a period of time, there was a rumor going on in the beginning that Koberger was working for the Mad Creek. And if they were doing rugs and Zana, Ethan and Maddie got themselves caught up It would make sense, just in my opinion. WSU came told us that there was a shakedown going on that night. Is that why they demolished the house? Is my question. Did the rugs did it go through the cracks? Keep in mind, Molly said she saw somebody going up and down. So were they trying, God forbid, were they STABBING? Somebody, or were they throwing the rugs through the cracks? The house looks like it was searched thoroughly, in my opinion. Let me know, guys, what you think. Please like, share, and subscribe.